Hi. Sheesh. Welcome to the most stressful day of my life. These live shows are going to kill me. I need to hire someone who can just run all of this stuff because there's lights, there's cameras, there's titles, there's pictures, and then there's me trying to just hang out and be with you guys and talk on a Friday afternoon and relax because this should be the goal. Okay. Can everybody just give me a thumbs up? Things are good. Things sound good. It's making sense. Am I visibly sweaty? Sheesh. Yeah, David, I love watching you grow with the venture. Technical difficulties is all part of the growing. But yes. Okay, so I got an Apollo. Can't quite. I'll aim the camera over here. I got an Apollo. And so a lot of it is me trying to figure out the details of this thing. So, anyway. Okay, tell me, are things good? Does it sound okay? Tell me it sounds good. Tell me this is all working. I have a shotgun mic just out of frame here that I like. I like the way that sounds. So, anyway, welcome to Guitar Hunter Live, literally live, and everything is stressful. And maybe it was trying to play music at the same time. Maybe that's what was messing up. I don't know. Okay, so everything should sound much better this week because thanks to Sweetwater, I got a Universal Audio Apollo, which is I think that problem in the beginning of this video was all just OBS trying to stream audio, and it didn't know how to mix the song I was playing with my microphone. So anyway. Might have a delay, but it's okay. Yeah, so there's something in how all the software syncs the video and the audio. I'm sorry, freaking live shows. I want to keep doing this because I love the challenge, but it's so hard. Anyway, so this week is all about, is this thing a liar? Tell me, do you guys have a price guide? Do you use the price guide? What role does a printed magazine-style price guide play in guitar buying and selling in 2021? That's what I want to know. Because I think I use this, but I might stop using it, or maybe other people should start using it more. I don't know. So tell me a little bit more before we dig in. And then what I want to do is I want to take your guitars and mine, and I want to hold... Sorry. I'll stop being distracted here in a minute. Okay. We're good. Okay. Yes, I want to hold my guitars. I want to hold your guitars against the price guide and see how much things are worth. Now, I need a volunteer if you are so willing, so able. I might be able to do this on the side as well. I want to make I just want to keep track of the guitars and gear as I go along. This isn't my total list, but I want to find just like generally how much things are worth. Yeah, so if somebody, as we go through, I'm going to put pictures up of the guitars, and then I'm going to, I'll go through the price guide and see what it says on that price guide. So I'll start a spreadsheet over here, but I doubt I'll be able to do all 15 things simultaneously. So anyway, down below, there is a link for the Vintage Guitar Price Guide. It is an Amazon affiliate link, so if you buy it, I get pennies. But I do think this is a helpful resource. I still buy them each year, and they're $25, $30, and I mean, they always save me more than they cost me. So, yeah. So, okay, so is it Jerome or Jeremy? So Jerome says that you buy one every decade. Okay, that's fair. I mean, that's probably the best. Like, it's the most that it would change in that period of time. And it probably would be amazing to go back and look and see what things they said the prices were. So a couple just quick thoughts on this thing. So I have used these in some form or fashion since 2003, I think was the first year I bought one. And then when I worked at the Guitar and Amp Center at a guitar shop in Virginia, this was the tool that I used all the time. Now, this is one piece of data, and now there are multiple other places to really figure out how much guitars are actually worth. And so for me, I'll go through the strengths first, and then the kind of deficits or the problems with this. So the strength of a price guide is that there's a ton of just information in here. Like, what I love is you can open up to whatever guitar you're looking for. I flipped to a weird page. Wurlitzer. But so here's Paul Reed Smith. And what's so cool is that this will go through and it'll give you like actual helpful information about the guitars themselves. So it's not just going to say, oh, a CE22 is $1,400. But it will say, it'll run through, that's funny. There's so few actual models in the Paul Reed Smith in here. But what I love is it'll give you, like, if you're looking at like a Paul Reed Smith bass 5. All right, so from 1986 to 1992, it's a 5-string neck. It's 5 strings. It's a set neck. It's rosewood board. It's 3 single coil pickups, active electronics. Options include custom colors, bird inlays, fretless board. What is so cool is like it gives you all those little details that you might not know. And so I know that for me, a lot of times this is super helpful. It's just a good resource for me when I'm trying to figure out which I actually, if I'm looking at a guitar that I don't know that well, this will give me some pertinent details, especially when you get into the nuanced details of like a D21 versus a D18 that could be similar or confusing. If you see a D21, you don't know what it is. So anyway, so in the front half, so the front chunk of these are guitars, and then you have basses, and then in the back you have amps. That's what it was. I was in the bass section. That's why there's only like a few things on basses. But okay, all of that to say, the benefits of this thing is that it moves slowly. It gives you extra details and info, and it moves really slowly, so it's not subject to the way that the world is currently. And so what I say when, if you follow Josh Scott, on Instagram, in his story today, he had a picture of a guitar that, it was a pedal that he had mentioned on his live show, and a year ago you could buy, is it the Visual Sound? I think that's what it's called. It's an old Ibanez pedal. A year ago you could buy them for $75, $100. They're a chorus, I think they're a chorus, or maybe they're a drive pedal. It doesn't matter. It's a pedal that is a very limited run. It's a cool color combo, but it's just a normal like consumer electronics type pedal from the 1980s. And now there's one that is for sale, and it's linked to Josh Scott's video about this and how it's the most rare pedal in the world. And they're asking $4,800 for it, $4,899. And so what's crazy is like the price guide does not deal with the volatility and just the crazy influence that YouTubers and people in the guitar world have. And so that's the biggest thing for me that gets me, is just how fast things can go crazy. And I know I'm part of the problem. And I have 25,000 subscribers, or 24,000. Like, I don't have a huge amount of influence, but for the stuff that I care about, if I make a video and I talk about the PV Classic 20s and Guild M20s, those are the two guitars that I've made videos about, and now they're not the same price anymore because they get bought up. Anyone that's looking for that guitar, they look at that thing, they find it. And everybody wants to find a cool deal. So anyway, all that to say, I think there's good and there's bad to the price guide, but overall, I think it's more helpful than it is hurtful. Now, this doesn't show like the last really good thing about the price guide. It is like looking at if you invest, if you look at your mutual fund, you look at the performance report at the end of the year on your mutual fund, you're like, oh, that's awesome. This year everybody's crazy. I think ours did 34% in the last year, which is insane. But what I love, so that's like looking at the Reverb price guide. The Reverb price guide is looking at the stock market every day, looking at the Dow Jones. That is this moment. What are people paying? Things are hot, things are not, things are coming, things are going. Where this guy is way more helpful, because this is like when you look at that annual market and you look at the 15-year weighted average. And so you look at like, hey, the stock market or the mutual fund you're in, if you take a 15-year rolling average, so every 15-year period, it has averaged 8.6%, I think was what ours is this past year. So you're like, 8%, I'm beating inflation, you know. So anyway, price guides, super helpful. And so, with that said, I'm going to jump into a couple of my guitars. If you have your own guitars, please let me know and we'll look it up. And I want to just ask the basic question and want to have a conversation about, is it accurate? Is it right? Are those prices wrong? And the thing is, there's no way that every guitar is going to be priced right in the price guide. But I think it will be pretty awesome and pretty helpful. So, okay, let me come back over here to OBS and get rid of that. Okay, all right, we're still good. I changed a thing over here. So stressful. Okay, so the first guitar is a 1961 Gibson J45. I put a video out on this guitar this week, last week, I don't know. I've been putting out a lot of videos recently. So, to you, tell me how much is this guitar worth? Let's call it in fair condition because it has, what, 4 top cracks, 3 back cracks, a crack on the side, neck crack, swapped bridge, new saddle, and a hole in the top, and new tuner buttons. So, how much is a 61 J45 worth if you were just looking for one? Tell me in the comments below and then we'll look it up. Tom! So, I'll jump over here and see where everybody's coming from. So, everybody says sounds good. That's good. So, Jerome has a 73 D28. Let's look that up. We'll do that one first before we jump into my J50. But, yeah, so Tom is here. Franklin, Tennessee. I love Franklin, Tennessee. If there's a town I'd want to live in the U.S., it might be Franklin, #1. I love Franklin. I love that downtown. I love what's that thing called? Not the Pumpkin Festival. What's that? The big fall festival. Love it. Keith is coming from Toronto. There's somebody else coming from North Canada. And then Matt McFarlane. Hey, buddy. David Revere is here. Yes. Jeff is who's from way up north. Tom from Orlando. So, yeah. Part of this is, I think, a price guide needs to be an addition to what you already know. And it needs to be like a way to... It's like the Matrix. You know, if you can quickly plug in, get the information you need, come back out. I know, Kung Fu. You come out, you're ready to go. Pumpkin Fest. Yes, I love it. It's the best thing. Okay, so what we're going to look up a 73 D28. So, 2 questions real quick. Let me know in the comments. Number 1, how much is a 73 D28 worth? Number 2, how much is a 61 Gibson J45 worth in fair condition? So, tell me. Tell me in the comments below what you think. What is what worth? What is what worth? What is each worth? So, going through, I came to Martin first, so we'll do this. I almost came to the right page exactly. So, D18s, need to go to the D28s. Come down to the Pilgrimage Music Festival in September. Deal. I'll be there. Yeah, I'm ready to get out and get weird. Okay, so a D28, and this is what I love. So, and you're not going to be able to see it because of the resolution of everything, but there's a great list, because D28s have been around since, 1931 was technically the first one. And so this will give you like all kinds of crazy details and why people love the pre-wars, but it's all these little nuancy details. So like 31 to 35, it was a 12 fret, and they're going for $163,000 to $215,000. And then you go to, and these are the ones that I've actually seen, and this price is actually high. It's right around what I've heard them going for. So a 1934 to 1937 D28 is going for $95,000 on the low end. This is in excellent condition, going between $95,000 and $125,000 for wood and metal made by people before World War II. And then you get into crazy stuff, forward shifted bracing, advanced X bracing, an 1.75" neck or an inch and so 1 3/4 neck in 1931, and somewhere in 1 11/16 they're 1.68. Anyway, we're getting distracted. Let's go all the way down here to the 70s, and this is coming out of the 50s, you're into $10,000, or in herringbone, late 47. Those are kind of the last of the ones that are super desirable. 10,600. Then you get into the 50s, they're all around 9,000 to 11,000. In the 70s, there's a substantial drop in price. And this is giving a 1970 to a 1979 D28 somewhere between $2,400 and $3,200. Now, what I know from firsthand experience trying to sell a friend's D28 is to get much above $2,000 is a challenge on 70s D28s for a bunch of reasons. The biggest reasons being Indian rosewood rather than Brazilian, hazy finishes, spongy sounding guitars. The quality does seem to dip. And I know the same thing with my D41, which we'll look at before too long. So I know there's a picture of a Gibson, and we're talking about a Martin. But yeah, so I think that one is going to be right around, to me, this is like an $1,800 to $2,000 guitar. So my neighbor eventually got $2,100, and he shopped that thing for a year. So a year to get at the low end of what this price guide says. So that's interesting. Okay, so the next one. So Tom says a 70s D20 in excellent condition, $32.99. Okay. And then, the 60s J45 in fair condition, $17.50. That's, I think, for the 70s D28, I don't, people want them to be a $3,000 guitar. I would like for them to be a $3,000 guitar, but they're just not there yet. They're $2,500. Now, they are the oldest Martin that most people can afford, and I think for that, I'm hesitant to say they're the next big thing, but I mean that makes sense. It's kind of the same thing. So if you look at Fender, what is the most affordable? What is the oldest but still most affordable guitar? I think it's 70s Fenders as well, like 3 bolts, which you don't hear people rant about 3 bolts as much anymore because it turns out it's not actually that big of a deal. I'd rather have a 4 bolt, but 3 bolts are fine. Yeah, Tom was just guessing. I think your guesses are right. I think you're a little high on the Martin, and I think you're a little low on the Gibson. So let's go over to the Gibson. So if I'm looking at, the Guild page. I love Guilds. Some Gretches, some Goodalls. So here we're into the Gibson. So now we're looking for a J45. Look at this. All these freaking Les Pauls. I wonder... Oh, so many dumb Strat. So many dumb slash. I don't actively dislike Slash. He's fine as a musician. He plays guitar in a band I don't care about. But what kills me is just how much juice that dude's trying to squeeze out of his reputation. And Gibson is pretty complicit in it. Anyway, JKL. How often do you guys still have to say the alphabet to yourself if you're trying to search for things? I do. J40. We're getting close. J45. Okay, J45 is similar to, they're probably more similar to D18s. It's anyway, nope, not worth it. So J45, the big one is round shoulder into square shoulder, and then you have the slimmer neck versus the fatter neck. There's a lot of nuance in these, but by the 60s, you're basically at a place of most of them are slim necks. So round shoulder is 1960 to 1964. Wow. This is a higher number than I thought. So this is saying that a 60 to 64 is $3,200 to $4,200 so $3,200 to $4,200 in excellent condition. This guitar is not in excellent condition, so let's take 25% off. So even 25%, what's 25% of 3,200? I don't know. I'll just subtract a little bit and hope that I'm right. Yeah, so I would say, so in the video I said that this one is 2,000. Let me grab it. So in the video I said that this is 2,000, maybe up to, let me change the setting on here. So in case I go back here, it'll lighten up. So I said 2,000 to 2,500. I think you could probably make a case. You could shop this thing for long enough and get 2,750, maybe 3. Because it does have the original case, the bright yellowy orange case. Nope. What happened? That sounds awful. But yeah, that's a really cool guitar. And I think that that's right, kind of in the right ballpark of where it should be. So, okay. So, if somebody is keeping score for us, I'll come over here and I'll start typing it as well. But if somebody could help keep track, that would be super helpful. So, the J45, it says, so I'm going to have one column. I can't share my screen real quick. But basically, I'm saying price guide says versus what Jeremy says. There you go. Let's do that. I'll put myself on the same level as Premier Guitar. So the price guide, they're pretty vague about how they come to their prices, but they've always been pretty close, but it's kind of like, is it a snake eating its own tail? Like, where does it start? Or is it a chicken and the egg? Are guitars worth what they are because of this price guide? Or is this price guide based on how much guitars are actually selling for? It's kind of a circle, like there's a wash in there. So I'm going to say the price guide says that this one's $3,200. I say it's $2,500. So maybe I'll post on my Instagram later. I'll pull some interesting stats on this. That's optimistic. Let me just say that. That may not, I'm going to try to make that happen. But okay, so that's number 1. So let me come back. So many things are happening. All right, come back over here. So that's the J45. I like that guitar a lot. So the next one, let's go to a new D18E. This one actually just sold, but I'll pretend like I still own it. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, Martin. Let's get in here to the D18. I think they've discontinued the D18E. D1218, D18, there's a gajillion of them. So what I have isn't the D18. Is it the retro? It might. Oh, okay. Wow. Okay, I think this is what I have. It's a 2020, a limited edition. What? If I knew this, I would have sold it for the same price. I got the same price. Okay, so the D18E was a limited edition and offered in 2020. There were 2,020 of them, 2020. Of these offered. There are just regular D18s with the E in them. Because what I noticed is the only ones they offer are the Modern Deluxe. The D18 Modern Deluxe. Fisher Electronics, but they launched that line. So I think they were testing the water with this. Anyway, it's a very cool guitar. It's very, just like, very standard D18, but it has a Fishman pickup. It sounds awesome. I just sold this. Actually went to, he might be in the video here, to Hayden. Got this. I think it'll probably get to him today. But very cool guitar. I sold it for $2,000, which I thought was a deal. I was hanging it out there for $2,300, $2,400 because they're discontinued. They're limited edition. It's hard to find. So I sold it for $2,000 and I covered shipping. So let's call it $1,920 that I got out of it. And, yeah, because it was actually expensive to insure. It was like $72 for shipping. So anyway, so with that guitar, that's $2,000. I think we're dead on the money. I think what I got for it and what the price guide says is the same thing. So it's telling me that YouTube that it's choppy video. Is that okay?